Hello class 12, welcome to history lecture. We were doing chapter 1, there we were doing the remembering of the past, and we have already seen myths and legends and folk tales. There we have seen these are the folk traditions like myths, legend and folk tales. What are their characteristics and what are their importance in the study of history we have seen. And till these three folk traditions like myths, legends and folk tales, we see there is much less historical evidence for these parts. So for myths, we have seen they are prehistoric and they do not have any historical evidence. Legends have partly historical evidence because these are based on human characters, and when they were constructed, when these were composed, these legends were composed, they were composed not in prehistoric age but already when human civilization has started. Then we have the folk tales. For that also we have seen that folk tales are basically for a particular region and for a particular civilization of the people. Now we will do the memories today. We will do memories in oral tradition. There we will see that memories are like the writings of famous person, like autobiographies, we can say them, not about the full life though. So we can say that memories are mainly based from the memory of the writer who is composing these memories. He is giving an account of the things that happened in his lifetime. So what we see is that memories are historical, and we see that when a famous person is writing something about a particular memory of his life, he is generally writing the fact which is true and historical. So till here we have seen legends, folktales may not be historical, maybe historical, and in legends and folktales we have seen some fictions are also mixed. But when we are doing about memoirs or memories, here we see these are historical fact and there is less chance of mixing fiction. So memoirs are historical and they are the written account. They fall in folk tradition but they are written account. So we have seen that myths, legend, folk tales, these are not written account. There is no written evidence for this part. But as far as memories are concerned, memories have written account because the author who is writing about his memory, he is writing down about any particular incident from his memory. So we see that these are written account and they are historical. Also we see that it gives us an idea about the life of the author. We can know about the life of the author. And the author who is writing his own memory is generally a famous or famed person. The famed or a famous or a popular character. So memories are important because we see this person who is writing the memoir or who is composing his own memory is a famous person or a famous character, and from his account we can get to know about the life of the author, his lifetime we can know. And when we can know about the lifetime of the author, we can also know about the society. So we can get to know about the society because when somebody is writing about his lifetime, it is not possible for him to write anything without mentioning what is happening in and around him. So whenever any author is writing about his life story, his memory, he is also giving us a picture of the society. So memories are important historical source because we get to know the author's life as well as the contemporary society during that time. We see that they are completely historical, though fiction is there. Sometimes when say the author is writing about his own memory, he can exaggerate one thing, or he has his own opinion about one thing. That opinion can be biased. If he is biased about somebody, he can like praise that person or that event. So memories are though historical, but we see that in spite of being historical, some exaggerated portion is there. So while dealing with memories, we have to compare memories of one famous character with other character of that time or with other historical data to find out the historical fact, because whatever one person is giving in his account, that may not be completely true, because he can be biased, he can be supporting something about which he is writing, about only about the good things. Say he, if the main character who is writing his memory is supporting one king, he will write everything good about that king. But that may not be the case. That king or that ruler may have some bad qualities also. So for this we have to go to other accounts or other data, so that we can see, compare and find out the true history. So here we see that memories are important part of history, and memories are mainly composed by the person himself. Like whoever is writing the memory, these are mainly autobiographical, like based on autobiography. The people who is composing his own memory is writing about himself. We can give the example here. The example of Rabindranath Tagore's Jiban Smriti, or we can give the example of Bipin Chandra Pal. Bipin Chandra Pal's name also, I think you all have heard. Lal Bal Pal, this name you have heard, and there is Bipin Chandra Pal who has composed his Shattar Vatshar. So these are the memoirs or memories from which we get the historical account of not only about the life of these people, but also about the contemporary society. You can also give the example of Sarala Devi Chaudhrani's Jibone Jhara Pata. Many memoirs are there from which we actually get the memories of the author, but we also get to know about the contemporary society. And as these are written sources of history, they are completely historical. Though some portion of exaggeration or fiction can be there, but they are mostly historical. Thus, memories are an important source of history. Now we move on to oral tradition. There we see that in oral tradition, these are basically orally transmitted, oral facts, not written facts. They are not written, unwritten facts, but they are completely historical. Unlike myths, legends or folk tales, the oral tradition is completely historical fact. They are not written though, but they are historical. These are historical facts. So what we see is that in case of myths or in case of legends, the facts which are orally transmitted does not have any proof that these are imaginary facts, and basically dealing maybe with supernatural forces, supernatural character, imaginary character mainly. But in case of oral tradition, we see that these are historical fact because they have proper proof, witnesses there. There is a proof to say that oral traditions are historical. How can we say that? Because there is proof of this fact. So oral traditions are basically true history because they are taken, the first hand account of taken from somebody. So we can say that these are historical. They have historical proof because they have first hand account. Now what do we mean by first hand account? When we say first hand account, it means that the source who is passing this oral tradition from generation to generation, this source is known. These are not irrelevant fact, but the true event or fact which has happened. These are transmitted orally from one generation to another generation. So here we can give the example of again Herodotus' Histoire. That is, Herodotus is the father of history. He composed his Histoire, this book, from oral tradition, from taking account from the people who has witnessed the event, and thus he composed his book Histoire or Histories. So this book of you can give an example of Herodotus's Histories or Histoires. we see this is the example of oral tradition, from which we see from this oral tradition this is the first book of history is composed. So oral traditions are also passed on orally from from mouth to mouth, but these are particular historical evidence. They have witnessed. One person who has witnessed a fact, they are giving their oral data or oral story to another person. Like this, it is passed on from generation to generation. Now we see through songs and poems also. So songs and poems also, this oral tradition is maintained, and nowadays videos and photographies are also there. Videos and photography, through these also oral tradition can be passed nowadays, because we have videos and we have the photography system through which if we do recording and video, also you can mention recording. Through these we see the oral tradition can be maintained. And here we should mention about the Oral History Association of America, which was set up in 1966. Oral History Association, OHA. Remember this, Oral History Association, set up in 1966 in America. And this association is basically set up for preserving all this data, the videos and the recordings from the person who has witnessed something. Say somebody has witnessed the revolt of 1857. So he is the eyewitness of the fact. So whatever data he can give, that is also historical. Like say the Battle of Plassey. If somebody is the eyewitness of the event, then obviously his data is very important for constructing the history of that part, and we can record or do the video of what he is saying. So this preservation work is done in OHA in America, set up in 1966, Oral History Association. Then we have the Oral History Society, that is the OHS, that was set up in 1969 in Britain. Remember this, that it was set up in Britain. OHS is Oral History Society. So in 1968 in Britain it was set up, and it does the same work of preserving all the oral tradition through videos and recordings, audio recordings or video recordings. So these are the basically oral traditions, and we see that these also are an important part of history, as they gives us the first-hand account of the eyewitness of history. Thank you.